The movie begins with a little girl named young Carrie who arrives at her father's multi-million-dollar company. She is about to enter the lift when she notices a deceased woman inside, which freaks her out. Just then, the spirit of the dead lady grabs her from behind. Meanwhile, a grown-up Carrie abruptly awakens, indicating that it was merely a reoccurring dream. But surprisingly, she can still communicate with ghosts. This becomes evident when a spirit comes to greet her good morning. In the next scene, Carrie goes to her workplace, which is a cafe owned by her friend Huang. But Huang knows everything about Carrie and her supernatural ability. Later in the cafe, Carrie notices a male ghost who is waiting for his partner. However, he is oblivious to the fact that he is dead. Taken aback, Carrie informs Huang about the strange occurrence. She assumes that the man has returned there for a purpose, as ghosts return to the world in order to accomplish their unfulfilled goals. Outside the cafe, we are introduced to a man named Ichan, who witnesses an ambulance transporting a body. Elsewhere, a group of board members of a large company, KS Group, are discussing the company's sales. The company's managing director, Isuk, asks the members if they have found the head of the sales department, Ichan, who has been missing for a few days. Isuk appears to be upset that their sales are declining, and orders the members to locate Ichan as soon as possible. Later, the chairman of KS Group meets with his nephew, Yun, who is also a managing director of the company, just like her brother, Isuk. The chairman appears concerned because his son Ichan has gone missing. Hearing his woes, Isuk comforts him by saying that she will do everything she can to find his son. Back at the cafe, the male ghost notices his girlfriend sitting in front of him, but she is unable to see him. After waiting for some time, the girl departs, and the male ghost is powerless to stop her. Seeing this, Carrie approaches the male ghost and informs him that he is dead. Later, as Carrie is busy with her work, a spirit suddenly lunges at her, but before she can be harmed, Ichan arrives in the nick of time, saving her. The spirit then disappears into thin air, shocking Ichan. Here we learn that Ichan is unaware of his death. Carrie informs him that he has become a spirit, but Ichan thinks that she is joking and walks out of the cafe. While walking across the street, he bumps into a couple and immediately apologizes, but to his surprise, they don't hear him. With this, he realizes that Carrie was telling the truth. It is also revealed that the dead body being transported by the ambulance earlier belonged to Ichan. With this revelation, he returns to the cafe and asks Carrie about how he can become visible to others. However, Carrie is unable to assist him and requests that he leave. Despite this, Ichan follows her to her house because she is the only one who can see and speak to him. Carrie tells him to leave, but he persuades her to let him stay because he has nowhere to go and doesn't remember anything about his past. Furthermore, he assures her that he will not harm her. Before walking inside her room, Carrie tells him that he will regret staying at her house. A few moments later, he notices several ghosts staring at him, which scares him. He also has nightmares about terrifying evil ghosts with no eyeball. The next morning, Ichan wakes up to find three good ghosts, Granny, Lee, and Uni. Ichan is perplexed by what is going on and walks out of the room in search of Carrie. Soon after, he notices that the house is in disarray and that Carrie is sleeping on the couch. He then realizes that Carrie deals with the ghosts on a daily basis. Just then, the three good ghosts approach him again, and during their conversation, Ichan shares about the evil ghost with no eyeballs. This concerns Granny, and she starts questioning him further about it. During their conversation, Ichan is suddenly unable to hear Granny, and as a result, he walks out. After this, Carrie, who is overhearing the entire conversation, approaches Granny and informs her that the evil ghost with no eyeballs has indeed reappeared. Later, Carrie takes Ichan to the location where he died and asks him if he remembers anything. Surprisingly, he is once again unable to hear. Just then, Granny arrives at the scene and pushes Ichan, causing him to enter another person's body. Here, we learn that Ichan's spirit has the ability to possess anybody's body for a limited time. After a few moments, he returns to his ghost state, and now he is able to hear. When a confused Ichan asks about what is happening to him, Granny reveals that it is a common occurrence for spirits who have recently separated from their bodies. In the evening, when Carrie and Ichan are hanging out in a park, the latter starts feeling hot. Taken aback, she hits him, causing him to shout in pain. With this, Carrie deduces that Ichan is still alive, because ghosts don't feel pain or heat. She tries explaining everything to him, but as usual, Ichan cannot hear a word. The next day, Yun and her assistant arrive at the cafe to ask about Ichan, but Huang speaks rudely, forcing the two to leave. As soon as they leave, Carrie tells Ichan to come out before she counts to 3. Surprisingly, he emerges from Huang's body, indicating that he was controlling her. After Huang goes to another room to take a rest, Carrie yells at Ichan for being careless. She mentions that spirits should not mess around with living humans and make their lives miserable. Expectedly, the outburst makes Ichan sad, and he walks out of the cafe. A little while later, Granny approaches Carrie and shows her a gift from Ichan for her birthday. This makes her emotional, and she regrets yelling at him. Later, Carrie meets Ichan at a park and begins chatting. During the conversation, Ichan reveals that he discovered Carrie's birthday while possessing Huang's body, and decided to give her a gift. He also mentions that it would have been nice if they had met before his death. Carrie reiterates that he may not have died, and upon hearing this, he tries to recall his past. After a bit of thinking, he recalls a syringe and being injected with something, then being pushed in front of a car. Meanwhile, Iyun meets her brother and asks if he has tracked down Ichan. Surprisingly, instead of giving a proper answer, Lee mentions that he doesn't care. Iyun tries to make him understand that Ichan is a very important member of the company, but Lee simply scoffs and walks away. In the following scene, Ichan is sitting in the park alone when Carrie approaches him. He recounts the accident, but he still can't remember everything from his past. Carrie consoles him by saying that sometimes it's best not to recall the past. She then reveals her past, where her father's company went bankrupt due to the betrayal of a trusted friend, and as a result, her parents took their own lives. Since then, she has been seeing ghosts. She says that she remembers the incident vividly, despite her desires to avoid recalling. After learning this, Ichan supports her and curses her father's fraudulent friend, making her feel better. At night, Carrie searches for Ichan, but is unable to locate him. While searching for him, she is attacked by the evil ghost with no eyeballs. The ghost appears to be attempting to take over Carrie's body, but just then, Ichan arrives and saves her. Despite this, Carrie loses consciousness as her body temperature has plummeted. Later, we can see Carrie resting on her bed while Ichan and Granny discuss the matter. Granny reveals that a person's temperature drops when a ghost is unable to possess a body. Ichan then stays by her side and keeps looking at her lovingly. A couple of days later, Carrie wakes up and notices the three good ghosts in front of her. She asks about what happened to her, but Granny doesn't reveal anything. Carrie then notices Ichan, who is sleeping on the floor. She asks about him, and Granny responds that he has been protecting her for 2 days and has only recently fallen asleep. Elsewhere, Iyun receives a phone call from her assistant informing her that they have located Ichan at the hospital. Wasting no time, she rushes to the hospital, where she discovers Ichan in a coma. The doctor assures her that they will do everything possible to save his life, but when she walks out, Iyun slaps her assistant for failing to kill Ichan. Here, it is revealed that Iyun is the one who plotted to murder her own cousin. Later, Granny and Eun-hee arrive at the hospital, and the latter possesses one of the staff's bodies to check on the status of Ichan. In the next scene, Iyun is alone in her apartment when she is haunted by the same evil ghost with no eyeballs. The ghost tells Iyun to allow her to possess her body in exchange for what she desires. When Iyun hears this, she lets out an evil laugh. The next day, she goes to Isuk and threatens to transfer all of his company's stocks to her within a week. Isuk is skeptical that someone is forcing her to do so, and as a result, he hires a spy to follow her. However, when Iyun realizes this, she immediately kills the spy. On the other hand, the three good ghosts learn everything about Ichan and share it with Se-ri. Granny reveals that Ichan is the youngest of the Chaos Group, which is the same company that illegally acquired Se-ri's father's company. Ichan's father is revealed to be the one who backstabbed Se-ri's father, causing their company to go bankrupt. Furthermore, Granny believes Ichan possesses exorcising power, which enables him to capture evil spirit. However, she is skeptical that Ichan will be able to defeat the evil spirit. According to Granny, if Ichan loses, he will vanish forever. After saying all this, she hands Se-ri a spirit box that can entrap any spirit. She also advises her to open it in the worst-case scenario. Meanwhile, Ichan overhears the entire conversation from behind the bush. At the office, Isuk and his assistant Kong are attempting to contact the spy, but Iyun enters his cabin with the spy's phone. She then commands the spirit to possess Kong and kill Isuk. As Kong is about to finish off Isuk, Ichan appears out of nowhere and begins fighting the spirit. After a bit of back and forth, the spirit transfers to Iyun, and the brother-sister duo begin battling it out. Both appear to be equally strong, but when Iyun is hurt, she flees the office. Then, Ichan arrives at the cafe, and as soon as he sees Se-ri, he collapses to the ground. Later, he wakes up to the good ghost and Se-ri, who asks him what happened. However, Ichan does not reveal anything to her and pretends to be fine. That night, he enters Se-ri's room and sits beside her. He assures her that he will reclaim her father's business, as well as all of the smiles and happiness. He also expresses gratitude to her for everything she has done for him. Se-ri, who pretends to be sleeping, hears everything he says. The next morning, Ichan takes over Huang's body and surprises Se-ri with a delicious breakfast. A few moments later, Se-ri is approached by the male ghost from the who informs her that someone is waiting for her outside. When she walks outside of the cafe, some men kidnap her. As soon as he notices this, Ichan runs after the kidnapper's van, but he is unable to stop them. Following that, he uses Huang's phone to locate Se-ri and heads there, accompanied by the three good ghosts. Meanwhile, Se-ri regains consciousness and finds herself apprehended by Eun. Eun reveals that she always wanted to get rid of Ichan, and now she is using Se-ri as bait to get at him. As per her plan, Ichan arrives and the two engage in an intense fight. During a tussle, Ichan unties Se-ri and retrieves the spirit box from her. He then opens the box, which sucks all the spirits inside it. After a while, when Se-ri wakes up, she notices that all the good ghosts in Ichan have vanished. Devastated, she grabs the spirit box and starts crying. Cut to 3 months later, Se-ri is back at work and she no longer sees any ghosts. As she is busy with her work, the three good ghosts watch her for a while and disappear after a final goodbye. Later, Ichan arrives at the cafe with some coffee beans, indicating that he is still alive. Sadly, he has no recollection of his interactions with Se-ri. When she keeps staring at him, Ichan asks if she knows him, to which she replies, "Very well." Thanks for watching this recap. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next movie recap. Stay tuned for more exciting recaps.